Close your eyes for a moment and take a deep breath. Allow yourself to feel the silence that exists before words. Perhaps you have arrived here carrying a question that will not be silenced, one that appears in the quietest moments, when the noise of the world fades and only you and your own company remain. The question is simple in appearance, but it carries the silent weight of decades of life. Is this all there is? After so many years of building, caring, working, and giving of yourself, what remains when the great social roles begin to say goodbye? When children go their own ways, careers shift into another rhythm, and the mirror begins to show a face you feel you barely know? This is not an ordinary crisis. It is not clinical depression, although it can hurt like one. It is the silent exhaustion of someone who lived on autopilot, following the programs received in the first decades of life. And what Dr. Bruce Lipton teaches us, with all the clarity of epigenetics, is that before the age of 50, most of your behavior was governed by the subconscious programming, like a DVD playing a movie you did not choose. The beliefs of your parents, the expectations of society, the fear of not being enough. All of this played on a loop for years, but something changes when your vital energy begins to reorganize itself. The survival drive, that urgency to prove your worth, to accumulate safety, to be accepted, it loses its strength. And that is when the subconscious either becomes your most comfortable prison or can finally be hacked. The question, what is my purpose, only emerges when the old programming short circuits. What if this is not a desperate question, but the first breath of an awakening? The renowned teacher Neville Goddard invites us to see that the so-called midlife is not a decline. It is the first real opportunity you have to use conscious imagination, not to escape reality, but to conceive a new identity, an identity free from the fears that governed your youth. That pain in your chest is not a punishment. It is the biological, emotional, and spiritual sign that an old self is dying so that a new one, finally authentic, can be born. You are giving birth to the only version of yourself that never needed the world's approval to exist. Perhaps you have already felt that invisible belief, so deep you do not even realize it is there. The belief that the peak of life has already passed. The idea that the best is behind you, and what remains is to manage losses, lower expectations, and accept a smaller version of who you are. This belief is not innocent. It generates a specific vibrational frequency, the frequency of loss, nostalgia, and the silent grief for a future you imagine will never come. And what few understand is that this dissonant vibration attracts more of the same. More exhaustion, more small frustrations, more pains in the body that seem physical, but have deep roots in the way you are perceiving time itself. Here enters the revolutionary beauty of what Dr. Bruce Lipton discovered. The environment, and this includes your thoughts and your perception of time, directly controls the expression of your genes. If you act and feel like an aging person in decline, your body activates genes of accelerated aging, genes of inflammation, genes of fatigue. It is the biology of surrender. But the news that changes everything is that the subconscious curiously becomes more receptive to new programming precisely after the age of 50. It is as if the noise of youthful ambitions diminishes, and the garden of the mind can finally be cultivated with new seeds. When you plant the belief of an expansive purpose, of a vitality that doesn't depend on age, your genes obey. They stop producing inflammatory substances and begin activating cellular repair and longevity mechanisms. And prepare yourself for a revelation that may challenge everything you have heard about mental aging. After the age of 50, your mind is not slower. What is happening is something that heart researchers call natural cardiac coherence. The rational brain, the prefrontal cortex, gets tired of commanding all the time. It becomes wiser, less anxious, and the heart, with an electromagnetic field 60 times greater than that of the brain, begins to dictate the rules. That mental confusion that many attribute to age is, in fact, the first legitimate attempt of your heart to speak louder than the fears in your head. Purpose does not live inside a thought. It lives within the frequency of your chest. How about trying something new starting today? When you feel that anxiety of needing to find an answer, stop fighting against forgetfulness or slowness. Instead, place your hand on your chest and ask, how does this situation make me feel? Tightness, expansion, lightness, heaviness? Your body knows. It is a perfect biofeedback. Little by little, you transform anxiety into trained intuition. It is no longer about thinking your purpose, It is about feeling the coherence between what you do and what you are. Like a river that, after the violent waterfall of the first 50 years, finds a wider and deeper bed. The water is not still. It has simply traded speed for strength and agitation for depth. Be careful of the most common and most painful trap of this phase, the trap of seeking a new purpose as if it were a new job, a new title, a grand new hobby, or a defined social role. Many people, upon feeling the emptiness, rush to become exemplary grandparents, respected consultants, tireless volunteers, or spiritual masters. And there is nothing wrong with any of these activities. The invisible error lies in the motivation. When you seek a new role to fill the void, you remain in the same old pattern that says your value depends on what you do. And this generates a silent and cruel anxiety, the feeling that you are no longer good for anything, that you have missed the boat of life. What the subconscious understands, and this is fundamental, is that it does not process social roles. The words retired, grandparent, or spiritual leader mean nothing to the deep layers of your mind. What the subconscious understands are emotional frequencies. If you seek to be important again, the frequency you emit is that of lack of importance, and the vibrational law is relentless. You attract what you vibrate. Seeking importance generates more situations where you feel unimportant. It is the vicious cycle of the old programming. The expectation break here is radical. Purpose after the age of 50 is not a goal to be achieved in the future. It is a frequency to be sustained in the present. When you focus on maintaining the frequency of gratitude, peace, simple wonder, the pleasure of feeling the sun on your skin, or the silence of the morning, you become a powerful magnet. A magnet for synchronicities, for unexpected encounters, for small actions that, added together over the days, create a gigantic impact. Purpose is not a checklist item, it is a state of being. You do not find purpose, you inhabit it. Try something radical for just 1 week. Make a commitment to yourself. For 7 days, I will seek nothing. I will not look for my purpose. I will not blame myself for not having an answer. Instead, every morning when you wake up, before any thought of tasks, choose one emotion to inhabit. Say to yourself, today I will inhabit the frequency of gentle curiosity, or gratitude for the morning, or deep acceptance, and observe. Observe how the world begins to respond not to what you think, but to what you feel. The right people, the right ideas, the small requests for help that fit you perfectly, they appear. Not because you sought them with your head, but because your energy, clean and coherent, called them. You are like an old radio. You spent 50 years trying to tune into the station of obligations and others' expectations. Now, the knob is stiff. The frustration comes from trying to turn it with force. The secret is to stop turning, clean the contact with inner silence, and simply allow the new frequency, the frequency of your soul, to find the tuning on its own. There is a pain that few name, but many feel in this phase of life. It is the silent anguish of realizing that the people around you seem to have drifted away. Children, busy with their own lives. Old friends, following paths that no longer cross yours. Family, gathering less and less. And a cruel question appears: have I become invisible? Have I been abandoned? This belief that loneliness is a punishment, a personal failure, or a sign that you are no longer relevant, this belief creates a huge emotional hole, a sense of being unhoused in your own soul. But what if what you call loneliness is, in truth, the most sacred of expansions? Quantum physics shows us that the reality you experience is a hologram constructed by your consciousness. People, places, situations, all of it is energy organizing itself in response to your frequency. That pain of being alone is not a punishment. It is the white noise of a field of possibilities that is intensely reorganizing itself. The people who leave your life are not abandoning you. They simply no longer had the frequency necessary to exist within the new world your soul is building. And this, as painful as it may seem, is an act of cosmic mercy. You have not lost connections. You have gained energetic coherence. The discomfort you feel is not the absence of others. It is the encounter with yourself for the first time without the social masks. And this encounter can be frightening because you may not know who you are when no one is watching. But the quantum field loves coherence. The more comfortable you become in your own company, without distractions, without television on, without a cell phone, the more the universe conspires in your favor, bringing people and situations that are exactly at your new frequency. Truer connections, lighter encounters, friendships that require no effort. Practice this daily. Set aside 10 minutes each day for conscious solitude. Sit in a quiet place, doing absolutely nothing. No music, no forced breathing, no visualization. Just sit. At first, a great discomfort will come, an internal agitation, a desire to pick up your phone or turn on the television. That discomfort is the vibrational suffocation of a mind accustomed to fleeing from itself. But persist. Gradually, this silence will become a frequency bath that cleanses the mental static. And in this silence, the purest intuition and the next organic step of your life will appear effortlessly. You will discover that you are not alone. You are in a cocoon, and the caterpillar that once crawled is silently transforming into something that flies. If you broke the cocoon too early to take the caterpillar out, it would die. The universe is giving you the golden cocoon of silence, so that you are no longer the caterpillar, crawling in search of approval, but the butterfly that flies simply because it is its nature. There is an invisible pattern that sabotages the peace of so many people after 50. It is the silent compulsion to fix things, to fix children who seem lost, to fix the unjust world, to fix the body that wrinkles and aches, to fix the past that cannot be changed. The mind becomes a 24-hour workshop, always seeking a solution, always adjusting something. And what emotional neuroscience reveals is that this compulsion to solve keeps the brain trapped in beta mode, the mode of anxiety, stress, and cortisol running through your veins. And this beta mode completely blocks the alpha frequency, which is the frequency of creativity, healing, and spiritual connection. The solution is not to try harder. The solution is a radical shift in identity. You need to stop being the doer and become the witness. When you stop trying to fix and simply observe without judgment, something miraculous happens in your nervous system. The brain leaves fight-or-flight mode and enters creation and rest mode. Your blood pressure drops, your breathing deepens, and your heart begins to emit a coherent electromagnetic field that organizes the reality around you. Your most sacred task now is not to act. It is to focus your attention. You no longer need to carry the world on your shoulders. That was the old program, the program of youth that thought everything depended on your effort. Now, your power is to maintain a high frequency of acceptance and simply observe. By doing this, you become such a stable, coherent point of attraction that solutions to problems begin to flow through you without draining your energy. You do not solve your children's problems. You radiate such a strong frequency of peace that they find the solution within themselves. You become a channel, not a weight carrier. When the anxiety of having to do something arises, and it will arise because the habit is old, pause, place your hand on your chest, feel your heartbeat, and say to yourself gently, I witness this. Take 3 deep breaths. Do not act. Remain in neutrality for 15 minutes. Just 15 minutes. You will notice that 90% of the urgencies disappear like mist in the sun. The rest will resolve itself or be resolved by others. You no longer need to be the superhero. You need to be the serene witness. You are the sky, not the cloud. The clouds of worry, of others' pain, of aging, they pass, transform, rain, and disappear. The sky remains immutable, clear, vast. You spent 50 years thinking you were a cloud. Now discover that you have always been the sky, and the sky does not need to do anything to be what it is. Your simple presence, silent and witnessing, is already the complete purpose. And so we come to the end of this reflection, but not to the end of your journey. Quite the opposite. The greatest legacy Dr. Bruce Lipton left us is the certainty that you do not need external permission to live your purpose. Permission has always been within, waiting for the moment you step out of the collective program of fear and scarcity. Your subconscious, that powerful tool that worked against you for so many years, can now become your greatest ally. Repeat to yourself until it becomes living cells in your body. No external belief has any more control over my genes. No past fear dictates my biology any longer. I am the gardener of my own body and my own destiny, and what I plant in thought and emotion will flourish into reality. And the master Gregg Braden reminds us of something that the most advanced science is beginning to prove. Just as the Earth's heart beats at a stable frequency, the Schumann resonance, your heart will beat in coherence when you finally stop seeking and simply be. It is not about finding purpose out there somewhere distant. It is about recognizing that you are the purpose itself, expressing life in a unique, irreplaceable, an absolutely necessary way. The question, what is the purpose of my life, has been inverted all this time. Purpose is not something to be found. It is something to be released from within, like a song that always existed in silence and now chooses to be sung. Your true journey has only just begun. The first 50 years were the preparation. They were the rough sculpture being carved by pains and joys. Now the stage is clean. The old script has been burned with compassion. And the silence in the audience is total, because there is no one left to applaud or boo. There is only you and the immensity of what you can choose to feel and do, with this radical freedom of having nothing left to prove. The invitation is not for an immediate answer. The invitation is for a deep sigh, a sigh of relief, and then the first silent step towards your own irreplaceable truth. What if the pain you feel today, the one that brought you to this video, is exactly the portal to the life you have always sought? Breathe, trust your rhythm, and walk.